Hello, hello. Let's do a quick mic check. Hey, Cassandra. Hey, Des. Good to see you. All right. Sounds like the microphone is working. I am going to start off my stream today by apologizing to everyone for not streaming yesterday. We had some crazy ass weather yesterday, and yeah, so it just didn't work out. I was afraid, what's it called? I was afraid that we would lose power because of how crazy the weather was. Oh, great. I just dropped a bunch of stuff trying to move my camera. Oh, well. All right. Hey, there we go. All right. This says, yeah, I saw the hail. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Luckily, we didn't get any hail like directly where we were, like at our house, but Texas is weird. Literally, like friends of mine who live more in Austin got like crazy hail. And then we did get a ton of rain and thunder and lightning and and wind. We just didn't get the hail part, which, is good, but also what's it called? Still messed with our electricity is the point. Sandra says, I saw nearby there was a lot of hail, like get a shovel hail. Yeah, no, exactly. Like literally some artists, some friends of mine who are artists who live, um, you know, like more like Austin proper or however you want to phrase it. Yeah, they had crazy, crazy hail. So, yeah, moving to Texas, the weather was interesting, like not like getting used to the weather, if that's even possible, but or just, the experience of the weather here has been crazy. I remember I got a warning on my phone once that there was like what's it called? A hurricane warning. And it was right when I was stopping at the grocery store, and I'm like, I guess, I don't know, like, if you say so. I go into the grocery store to pick up like four things. I come outside and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is absolutely a hurricane. So, yeah, it was weird getting used to it. All right, I'm getting my palette, by the way, so that's why I'm off screen for a second. But yeah, I know talking about the weather is super fascinating, but it was quite the experience to, move here and not be familiar with that kind of weather. I've driven in the rain before, but I've never driven in rain as heavy as I have in Texas. I mean, just like at some point it just comes down so heavy. I'm just like, okay, I am just pulling over. I cannot see these. I might as well not have windshield wipers on because they're not helping at all. All right. I'm probably going to need to clean some of my palette, I just realized. Yep. This is what I hate about earth tones, earth colors. They dry so freaking fast. By the way, for anyone who does want to get into oil painting and wants faster drying time, use earth tones in your paint. It'll definitely help it dry faster. It's just infuriating. That's literally why I stopped. I like took them all out of my palette because I could not keep them wet. Uh, no matter what, they would always dry like overnight. It would drive me crazy. So, don't remember if I asked, but how are you all doing today? What are you up to? Just putting my hair back so I don't get my hair in my paint when I start cleaning it. Alrighty. I finished finally building my sawhorses, so that's great. Mm. So now I can, yeah, Cassandra says, yeah, absolutely. Because now it means that I have but I can put the wood between the sawhorses and I can actually start cutting like my panels. So, because one thing I haven't shared is that I'm getting very close to running out of things to paint on. So I kind of need things. Now, Cassandra says, now you can see horse since you saw horse. Please don't ban me. uh, Des says, my daughter, sister, and I went for a drive to Prince Edward Island, saw some beaches, lighthouses, and Confederation Bridge. The tourist place we're close. Never heard of that before, but cool. Sounds nice. Sounds like fun. I hope you took a lot of photos so you can, turn something into a painting. But yeah, the sawhorses are going to be very helpful for, like I said, just cutting, what's it called? Panels so that I can actually paint on things. Because it's really hard to paint on to do painting videos um, when you don't have anything to paint on. It's just one of those, parts of the process. Um, Cassandra says, tired from doing a bunch of moving stuff around at work. We swapped two rooms at work, which involved moving incredibly heavy work tables. Took us 2 days. It's crazy. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're done with that now. It's better in the long run. I get to paint a room tomorrow. That's cool. Are you gonna do like a some cool patterns and designs on it or something, or just like a single color? I discovered something that I did not know. We painted a single wall in our house, and our walls have a little texture to them, because this is not just a single blue color. Fair. Yeah, Michelle's studio, she has one wall painted, and our walls have I think it's called orange peel, texture to them. Um, and we taped off everything so that we could paint and, not get the paint everywhere. And the taping off part worked really well on things like outlets and everything and the trim, right? But for the other walls, it didn't work well because the texture, um, the paint, even though like I tried to push the tape into the texture, it didn't do a good job. I found out later that apparently you're supposed to use silicone, like silicone caulking, um, in addition to the tape. I didn't know that. It's very minor, and luckily, it's not like a wall that just stands on its own. Like if there was nothing in front of it, I might try and redo it, but she has other stuff like up against the wall, so it's not, you know, you can't really see it that much, but yeah. Right, I am actually going to get so I went out on Tuesday and I painted outside. Well, not at home. I went to the art night at the Highland Collective. So I took my paints with me, you know. But I think I'm going to transfer it over to my current palette so I can, not waste the paint because it will dry eventually. The palette works out pretty well, but I have already come across some issues with it, so I think I'm gonna redesign it a little bit. Not like huge, huge. Huh, this red looks a little different. I wonder why. I'll put it over there, not mix it with the others. Huh, that's weird. I'll have to double check. Maybe I put out the wrong red. I don't think so. Anyways, but yeah, the palette is good, but I have come across some issues with it, and I think I'm going to slightly refine the design of it. Hmm. I don't know if this is, I don't know who's going to find this interesting, but the the issue I ran into with it is that it sits on the what's it called? On the tripod with you know, with these parts, right? So, let's see, hold on. Uh, Cassandra says fixable, or do you have to start over to refine it? Good question. I'm not sure. We'll see. But so the problem is it sit right the legs of of the tripod go through here, and it sits kind of like this, right? But the issue is that where I was getting a lot of reflective light from above me, and I couldn't see my paint very well. So I think I want to make it so that it sits more at an angle, which will have its own issues, right? Like that will create its own problems. But yeah, I don't know. If I have to make a whole new one, it's not the worst thing in the world, but we'll see. Like having it sit up has some advantages. Like I can put my I can put my brush on it and stuff like that. That's helpful. Um and I even put my little what's it called? Uh cup thing on it. It was sturdy enough to hold it, so that's good. So, there's that. But yeah, I don't know. There might be other ways of dealing with the issue. Like maybe I can, I could maybe put in a cutout like for the palette so that I can move it if I need to, but then I have to figure out a way of securing it when it's not in use, I don't know. Every solution creates other problems, you know. But it will be fun to play around with. Mm, nah. All right, let's oil out real quick and then get into it. Cassandra says, been there. Eventually you work it out or go crazy trying. Uh, I mean, or you just, the thing that often happens is you try and work it out and you fix one problem and creates a new problem. And eventually you go back and forth, and eventually you just end up back where you started and you're like, yeah, I guess this is the best one, you know? All right, I can't see where my oil is going, so I'm gonna just get on the floor for a second so I can see the glare. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it, and it's fun to mess around with this stuff. I'm also planning, um, now that I have the sawhorses set up, I can also work on building a what's it called? Oh my God. Oh yeah, my teleprompter. So I made a teleprompter because I need one when I'm talking at camera. Um, but I made it out of cardboard because that's just what I had. Um, and when I set it up to use it, it is very, very precarious. The camera and everything sits very precariously. So I figured, maybe I can make something a little better than that. It's not hard, honestly. Or rather, it shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, the I can actually show it to you. My this is my teleprompter, the one I made. from my Amazon package box. Yep, there it is. So yeah, one of so I figure I could probably so fancy. I know, right? Um, yeah, so I figure I can probably do something a little better. Um, you know, there is a really interesting thing with the cameras and teleprompter if you are, if you're working for your like doing it all on your own. There's a real interesting problem that you run into with the teleprompter, though, that you don't if you're working with not by yourself. Um, I have to use the camera screen to, to line up my shot and everything. Um, and it's a small camera, so it sticks out, like, so I have it so that it sticks out right here. But that means that like the camera lens, you can see where the hole is all over, all the way over on one side only. So that does create some issues. Um, I'll have to see how I can kind of fix that in, somehow. But yeah, so fancy. That's why every time I try and move it, it's like um nerve-wracking because it's like, is this what's going to make my camera fall over and, break everything? Kind of not the best. Alrighty. Let's actually get to painting and see what I'm doing here. I'm really confused. This red here is really messing with me because I thought I was putting out like my um my normal red, but that is clearly not my normal red. So it must be, what red could that be? Like, I must have put out the wrong paint by accident, not realizing it. Let's see. Oh, for flying, you need a clear container, so that the TSA, right? For TSA. Um, I found this at a oh, what are they called? Um, oh my God, like a secondhand store. I forget what they're called. Anyways, it's like a little. Oh, you can't see it. Camera. There we go. It's a little lunchbox thing, and I actually really like it because um, one side has a wall to keep the two sides separately. Cassandra says I was going to say you traveled. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I have. See, I think you know what it is. I think I know what I think. Is this my? Is this just like this quinacridone rose? Is it that different in color? It is. Look at that. Yeah, it is rose. The difference is that's my Winsor Newton quinacridone rose, and this one is my M-gram quinacridone rose. Yeah. You know, I don't want to disparage any company, but sometimes you do get what you pay for? I do like M-gram a lot more than Winsor Newton for almost everything. I just I'm a little colors, they mean nothing. Yeah, right. I am there's I have a couple of gripes with Mgram. Um, and if they would change those, I would be really happy with them. But I have a few gripes with them. But I still really like their paint. All right. So let me get a drink before I actually start. It's only 8:30. I'm not drinking coffee. Why'd you ask? Anyways, um, yeah, no, my issue with Mgram is that um, they put zinc in their white still, which um, my understanding is it's bad to have zinc in your paints. Um, hold on, I have a Dresden hair here. Um, yeah, they have zinc in their whites, which pisses me off because I don't want zinc in my paint. And then the other thing is they don't they don't have large tubes of the yellow I like or the red that I like. So they don't have large tubes of quinacridone rose, and they don't have large tubes of bismuth yellow. So what I want to save money, buy the big tubes, but I can't. It's very frustrating. And then for phthalo, no one needs a large tube of phthalo. that it's too strong. No one needs a large tube of phthalo. I don't know if they even sell it, but like no one, it's going to take forever. So I'm actually going to break the color from what I have now. I want to add a little more to this. I like the earth tone, but it's just a little much. But I still want to keep that like warmth to it. So I don't know that I'll even put any blue in this anywhere. Like I think the coldest color might just be my black. But yeah, I really want to just add some real warmth to it. Cassandra says never, LOL. Yeah, no, Thalo. I, you know, I'm fairly confident. I think I think the tube of Thalo. I now have two tubes of Thalo because I bought an extra one. But the one that I have been using for the last, I think, 2 years was gifted to me half empty. Um, and I'm still using it. Hey, first time chatter over in Twitch. Kinperk, hi. Hi, welcome. How are you doing today? Um, So we mostly talk about, well, yeah, mostly talk about painting, oil painting, and art art stuff here. Welcome. But sometimes video games and other pop culture stuff make their way in as well. But yeah, the first tube of phthalo I ever got was a. It's actually the one in here, I think. Yeah, look at this. I haven't even. I'm not even like. This was gifted to me, not full, and I've been using it for I think over a year to 2 years. Um, and the only reason I bought a new tube was because I wanted to have a travel tube that in case, TSA decided to throw out everything, I didn't want to lose all of my paint. So yeah. Uh, Kim Perk says, I am French. I don't really understand English. My grammar is bad. Well, no worries. I don't understand French, but you are more than welcome to speak with bad grammar here. I do it all the time. So, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I I'll do my best to interpret, of course. But yeah, no problem at all. But I don't know French, unfortunately. I wish I did. It sounds like a beautiful language. Uh, I'm not. I struggle with the languages I currently know. I don't want to add to that list, or rather, I don't feel capable of adding to it. Oh, Des might know some French. Are you an artist? Uh, uh, Sorry, I'm horrible with names, so it takes me a second. Kim Perk. Uh, is it is it an oil painting? Yes, it is oil painting. Uh, it is. My channel, my Twitch stream and my YouTube channel is dedicated to my oil paintings. I also do storyboards and digital art stuff for work. Uh, but online, the live stuff or the videos and everything is mostly dedicated to my oil painting. Are you an artist? And if so, what kind of art do you do? And if not, that's okay too. Although I always encourage everyone who comes here to make art at some point. Kind of a go-to of the channel. I really need to make a banner or something to solidify all the channels, what's it called? Slogans, Make everyone should make art, don't eat your paint. I think those are the two big ones right now. Amazing. Do you have a YouTube channel or something like that? I do have a YouTube channel. Absolutely. Let me get um yeah, Des. Thank you, Des. Yeah, Des is on it. It's the same name, Liad Goldberg. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Des. I appreciate the assist. Yeah, I'm simulcast streaming on YouTube and Twitch. I started streaming on Twitch years ago and then stopped for a long time, but I made so many cool friends and met so many great artists here. Most of them aren't on Twitch anymore. Some still are, but a lot have left. You're not an artist now, but you want to be want to be. That's awesome. And you know, I strongly what's it called? Encourage everyone to make art because I think it's a very human thing to do. Um, and I think it's good for people. But I also encourage everyone to, not limit themselves in the sense of like, if you make art, you're an artist. You don't have to be a professional artist to be an artist, you know? Des is right. There are so many great resources online. Absolutely. Absolutely. I went to an art school for like illustration, and I didn't learn oil paints there. So when I wanted to learn oil paints, I um, I couldn't afford it, and I didn't have the time to go take more classes. So I ended up just learning everything about oil paints from YouTube. Messed that up over there. So yeah, ton of great resources out there. And you can join the Discord if you're cool with Discord. And, you can always talk art there. A lot of people in the Discord, like Des is an artist. She has a lot of knowledge. And, everyone has, different people have different, um, knowledge and resources. Like Des has shown me a bunch of YouTube creators over the years that I didn't know about. Yeah, there's always people out there. Um, so you're more than welcome to join the Discord as well. Oh, this is a side tangent, but yeah, I don't know. Have you noticed some of the changes that have been going on in Discord lately and heard some of the news going on with Discord? It's really discouraging. That says I did a lot of digital art and decided to try oils. Yeah, this helped me a lot. And there are many online free courses. Oh yeah, for sure. That says, what about Discord? And Cassandra says disc orb and did a poop emoji. Yep. Yeah, so I guess it's something along the lines of they pushed the CEO out and replaced him with a new CEO that it used to run Candy Crush is I think if I remember correctly. And there's been a lot more, they've been pushing Nitro a lot more lately and all the like different uh paid upgrades that you can do to like, you know, get an I don't know, animated name tag or something, or I don't all that stuff. Yeah. Um, I don't know. Cassandra says, I know he was at Activision. Yeah, he was at Activision. I know that too. That says, oh yeah, I'm bombarded by the Nitro crap. Yeah, yeah, I'm a little concerned. But, on a absolutely can continue talking about it. It just popped into my head. But also, I was going to ask, I forgot to ask, uh, Kinperk, what type of art do you like to do? What type of art are you interested in doing? Um, Everything is welcome here. I'm just curious. We have a background in comics and illustration, so we don't really, you know, um, look down on anything in particular. Des says everything is going micro purchases and services. Yeah, that does worry me. Cassandra says there is some sort of alternative. I haven't tried it. I've heard there are some alternatives, but I haven't heard any of them being nearly as robust or good is the big issue. But yeah, it might, you know, I I'm not like abandoning Discord yet, but I am now starting to like keep my eyes open for the alternatives if abandoning ship needs to happen kind of thing. Sandra says, yeah, Liad is still friends with me, even though I'm an acrylic painter. Everything is welcome. Yeah, they see how I was gonna make that joke. I'm actually gonna make that same joke as Sandra. That's so funny. Ken Park says, I do some jewelry, traditional jewelry from uh Algeria, especially Amazite. Oh, that's awesome. I don't know what that looks like, but that sounds really cool. I like making stuff with my hands. I recently started getting into woodworking a little bit, just making some basic stuff, and I've enjoyed that a lot. So I do like making things with my hands. That's awesome. Jewelry. I actually interned for a jeweler once for a while. So yeah, it sounds awesome. Sandra says that I'd beat you to it. Yeah, that's funny. We have the same train of thought. Ken Perk says, and I want to do. I think I read that you want to do oil painting. Oil painting, the, oil painting's great. The one thing I will say about oil painting is, um, give it like once you start, give it some time. There's there's definitely a learning curve to it, and it's a little steep, but it's very short, relatively speaking. And once you get past that learning curve and you can make the paint do what you want, then it's down to like, artistic learning or paint, your skills in painting, but it no longer becomes about the skills of like making the paint do what you want. That's the big learning curve of the medium. Once you get past that and you're into the part where it's just about your ability to paint, um, obviously that's a totally different type of thing, but also oil paint then becomes one of the more forgiving mediums. Um, if not the most forgiving, but definitely one of them. So it makes it, way more about like what can you do with the paint, or and not uh you fighting with the paint anymore and with the mediums and all that. It just takes a little bit of time to get past that initial part. But yeah, there's a ton of great resources online, and people have come into this chat or in the Discord and asked, some questions about that. I'm always happy to, give people my 2 cents or advice or whatever. Like, for instance, I one of the biggest things I ran into when I started getting into oil paint was that I was not using the right type of brushes. my brushes were way too soft, and that really um, made my life very, very difficult. Like that one thing made my life so much more difficult. If only I'd just bought some stiffer brushes, that alone would have helped a ton. And then there's a few other things too. Um, Cassandra says more about getting what's in your head out of your hand. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that for instance, and then the other thing too is a lot of people. I did this too when I first started getting into painting. I bought the cheap canvases to paint on for practice because you don't want to spend a lot of money. I get that. I don't want to spend a lot. I don't want to spend a lot of money now, but like, when you first start, you're not you're going to mess up in the beginning. It's like, why waste money on expensive canvases and so on? And I don't think you should waste money on expensive canvases. However, I also don't think you should use the cheapest canvases out there because they suck. And it's going to be such a horrible experience to paint on them. Um, I really should do a video. This is actually a great idea. I should write this down. I should do a video about this because um, I do think it's one of those things that like new people run into a lot, and it really sucks. The experience of painting on those really, really cheap canvases is just awful. Actually, this white part right here, this thing, this is actually one of those really cheap canvases I got at Michael's, like the very cheap, cheap ones. I hate it so much that I just use it as a board to like tape other boards to now. Yeah. Oh, so either get something better, or you can prepare your own panels or your own canvases for pretty cheap. You just need to learn how to do it, and it's more work, which sucks because no one wants to do more work. But yeah. Is Ken Perk says, is it a good idea to paint on wood board? I personally prefer painting on hard surfaces. And you can absolutely paint on wood boards. You need to prepare them first. So you need to like gesso them or um, what is it? Um, Prime them with oil primer, or um, there's different ways of preparing it. You also have to be careful if you're going to paint with acrylics at all. You have to be a little more careful about preparing them. If you're not touching acrylics at all, then it's easier. But yeah. But yeah, there's a bunch of videos online about how to prepare boards, and yeah, absolutely can go with cheap stuff in the beginning. You don't have to spend a lot of money on preparing boards, but those really rough canvases suck. Especially the other thing is like, I don't know about you, but this is a thing that I ran into a lot was I would do I would do small canvases, and I mean this is pretty small. This is a 9 by 12, but I would do really small paintings in the beginning because you know you want to practice. You don't want to you know or I wanted to practice, wanted to do a lot of practices, and I didn't want to you know I didn't want to spend a lot on my canvases and so on. These canvases are so rough, and when you start to paint something small, it just becomes unbearably rough, and you can't get any detail, and you're working so hard against the surface. It's so aggravating. Um, oh, Cassandra, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Absolutely, champion. Absolutely. Um, But yeah, the other thing you can paint on is a cost-effective one is watercolor paper. You can paint on watercolor paper as long as you, I would recommend priming it. And what's cool is you can try different surfaces. So if you prime it with, if you prime it with um, gesso, it'll have a different feeling than if you prime it with watered down gesso, or if you prime it with a few layers of gesso and then sand it and make it really, really smooth, it'll feel different. You could also use uh, acrylic binder or acrylic matte medium or just acrylic paints if you wanted to. Um, so you can use all those things on on watercolor paper and, the pages, you don't have to get the most expensive watercolor paper out there. So it becomes really cost effective and they don't take up a huge amount of space. And, it's a great way of practicing. Oh yeah, Cassandra adds, that's a good point. There's hot press watercolor paper if you want really smooth surfaces to practice, to try out. Because thing is, a lot of people, when they first try oil painting, this is a common thing. Um, when they try a smooth surface, they say it's too smooth and it feels like ice skating and they can't control the paint. So they go into rougher and drier surfaces. And then once they gain control, a lot of them move back to the smoother surfaces because of it because it doesn't feel dry and it doesn't feel you know uh, um, so rough, and you can get more brushy marks on it. Ironically, you actually can do, if you want the image in the painting to, okay, if you're, let's say you're painting a, just a smooth round ball, right? It actually is easier to make it look like that, like a smooth round ball on a rougher canvas. Uh, Whereas if you try to paint that on a very smooth canvas or surface, it's going to be really hard to get all those brush marks out, ironically enough. But yeah, it's a great way of trying a bunch of different surfaces kind of thing. Cassandra says, prepared wood definitely feels super slick in my experience. Doesn't have to, Cassandra. It depends on how you prepare it. If you want it to have tooth, aside from the obvious of actually gluing canvas to a wood, which, obvious, uh, the other thing people do is some people like more grip and more tooth. So they put pumice stones. It's like sand for anyone who isn't familiar. It's not sand. It's I think it's a volcanic rock that is ground up, and they actually put that in the last layer of their gesso. And so when they put that on, the surface has more texture and it's more absorbent. If that's what you want, I don't want that, but like to each their own. You can try a bunch of different things. So yeah, the cool thing, the thing I like about preparing your own, oh, sorry, your own surfaces is, you get to, there's a lot of options out there. You can try a lot of different things. A lot of them are not expensive. You don't have to go with the super expensive oil primed, the lead oil primed primer. You don't have to do all that stuff. There's a lot of things out there that you can do that aren't that. I even used it's called Kiehl's oil primer. It's like house paint essentially for like outdoors. So um and I've used that too. It's cheap too. Like it's like how it's house paint, you know. So it is cheap. I haven't used that on paper. I don't think it would work well on paper, but on on other surfaces it works well. Cassandra says, not to mention the perceived pressure of an expensive, nice surface. Got to put something good on it, or else it can feel like you wasted it. Absolutely. I, I, I'm guilty of that. I have a panel, it's buried behind my other paintings. Um, it's an expensive panel that I bought, and I want to use it. I want to use it on something special. So I haven't touched it in a year. Sandra says, can relate. LOL. Yeah, exactly. Uh, Ken Perk says, thank you for all the advice. Oh, you're welcome. Always. You're welcome. Uh, yeah. Des says, yep, I have some huge wood panels I'm avoiding for that reason. Yeah. Sandra says, for Liad's masterpieces only. I, it's a little 9 by 12. It's not going to be a masterpiece. That's the other thing, right? Like, it's just, I really should just paint something on it. I just don't know what to, I just don't know what to paint on it. I don't want to waste it. You know, I want to take advantage of it, but it's like, I feel like it's just going to be just another painting. And it's like, well, I can just do another painting, you know, on on this, right? Like I don't need to waste it. So I got to do something different with it. It's a copper panel I bought at the Portrait Society last year, not the one this year, last year. So, yeah. It's really nice. I got it from Artifacts, and they sent me a little sample panel, and I do mean little, like literally it was like this big. And I tested it, and it felt nice. Cassandra says, didn't mean to accidentally call you out. Oh, it's fine. I admit to it. Totally admit to it. I'm not running from it. I also I totally advocate for the idea of being less precious with your art. Um, at least for me. Like everyone's different, but I know for me, um, being less precious with my art was part of the like no fear aspect to my art, which was like also became one of my mottos. Um, you know, and I could only have no fear if I wasn't precious about my artwork, you know. I'll be precious with it once it's done. And even then, I'm less precious about my paintings now than I used to be. But yeah, not worrying too much about it definitely helped me a lot. It made me like it allowed me to loosen up a ton and really, you know, improve a lot. I don't think I would have improved as much as I did had I uh, not like changed my mindset in that manner. But clearly not, haven't changed it 100%. I still hate the first page of sketchbooks. God, they're the worst. I don't think you'll ever see me do one of those sketchbook tour videos. Yeah. Cassandra says I skip it like a complete coward. The first, yeah, I often skip the first page of a sketchbook. Same. I do the same. And then what's it called? The thing I really hate is those sketchbook tours that people do, and it's like every single page of the sketchbook um is just is a perfect painting. And just like that, this isn't a sketchbook anymore, A, and B, like it's so unrealistic. I mean, you know, you didn't paint any bad paintings? What's going on here? Uh, Ken Perk says, "What is your idea of a masterpiece?" That's a good question. I mean, there's a ton of artists that I love who have painted masterpieces. Um, I don't know that I would really put any of my paintings in that category, but that's because I kind of takes me back to the idea of just not being too precious with your paintings. I don't know how I would consider a painting I ever done a masterpiece, especially because I will always see the problems and know all the mistakes and shortcomings of any painting I do. So I don't know if I'll ever consider any of my own paintings a masterpiece. But there's tons of fantastic artists out there that I love, and I'd consider tons of their paintings masterpieces. I mean, you know, there's the classic, like almost anything, you know, what's his name? John Singer Sargent, has painted maybe not anything, but the most of the known ones. Um, but there's other people too. I love J.C. Leyendecker. I like Rockwell too. I mean, there's an endless amount of artists out there that I love. These are, I don't know how to pronounce it. His name, is it Muka? I love those Art Nouveau paintings. Yeah, I think a masterpiece really is for other artists, for every other artist but me. In the sense of like I don't know that I could ever think that way about myself, regardless of how proud or not I am of a painting. It's not a way of saying like, oh, I don't like my own paintings, because I do. I just don't know if I'd ever get to that point where I'm like, this is a masterpiece. Ideally, and this is not how it happens, of course, but ideally, every painting will be my best painting till this day, kind of thing. Of course, that's not really what happens, but ideally, I keep improving every time. Every painting is an improvement, right? Of course, that's unrealistic. It's not really how we learn and function as people. But there is an over time kind of improvement. And I know for me personally, as time goes on, the the where I want to go with things keeps moving too. So that, the finish line is always out of reach because it's always moving away from me in different directions, which is, I think, a good thing and a healthy thing, uh, ultimately. But that's why I say, like, I don't know how an artist does a painting and it's like, my masterpiece. It's like, okay, yeah, today, and then tomorrow you're going to try and do something better, right? Sandra says, I've been thinking really hard about that recently, about growth and improvement. Yeah, that's cool. Let me put you on the spot. What have you come up with? I'm kidding. I know that it's hard to write a lot in YouTube chat and everything. Cassandra says, and I think putting myself in a situation with all my skill level was one of the best things I could have done. That's good. Yeah, I mean, if you mean like basically pushing your like putting yourself in a situation where you had to push yourself and use all your skill levels, that kind of what maybe I misunderstood what you're saying, but if that's what you're saying, I totally agree with that in that concept. No, no, okay. Well, apparently not at all what I was thinking. I'm curious to think to see. When I was taking a class that had all different skill levels in it. Okay, you think that was a good thing for you? Is that what you're saying, Cassandra? Uh, I won't continue to what's it called? Cassandra says, I spent a lot of time looking up when I want to go, and I really remember where I came from, where everyone starts, you know? Okay, I see that. Yeah. Sure, I can totally see that. I can see being in a class with multiple skill levels. I can see a lot of benefit to it in multiple ways, right? But it just depends on the person. But yeah, I could totally see that. The thing I found super beneficial, I always try and remember this. Um, I this happened years ago, but I was feeling really stuck with my drawings. This, like I said, this is years and years ago, but I was feeling super stuck, and I felt like I had not progressed or done, any improvement in like a year or more, and I felt like I just completely plateaued. And I was able to look back at oh, hey Raiders, welcome. One second, I was just finishing a thought. I looked back, I was able to look back at, and ironically, one of my sketchbooks, and I looked back to what I had actually been drawing a year prior, and I was like, oh my God, I was awful a year ago. I actually improved a lot, and I didn't even realize it. And because you can't really see your improvement a lot of times. So I always try and keep that in mind. And that's why I think keeping a record of like what you do is so beneficial over time. Anyways, welcome Raiders. Hey Don Lee, how you doing? Don Lee is a friend over on Twitch. He streams he's also an artist, does mostly digital art. Uh, what were you up to today? Sorry, I wasn't able to hop into your stream at all today. Your streams are always so much fun. I was busy up until the moment I started streaming today. Drawing a piece for a client. Nice. Very cool. Well, you are welcome to share whatever you would like to. If you want to share your Instagram or your store, if you have, do you have any new designs or prints or anything happening? But yeah, anything you'd like. Des says, have you been watching Andor? I'm thinking of doing a digital portrait of a character too. Oh, that was Don Lee. I have not been watching Andor. Um, I'll be honest, I used to love the world of Star Wars, and I'm a little on the world of Star Wars now. So, yeah, I don't have the patience for it anymore. That says this is Star Wars for adults. I've heard good things about it. I have heard good things about it. Maybe I'll, muster up the energy to watch it. Donley says Andor might be worth checking out if you ever get the opportunity. Yeah. That says it's dark, it's raw, no lightsabers, etc. Okay, well now I'm torn because I like lightsabers. Lightsabers are not the issue, okay? Don't blame lightsabers. I like lightsabers. They're cool. But I get what you're saying. Notorious. Okay, this is a name. Welcome, first time chatter. Notorious Convulsion. Wait. Oh, this is bullshit. Get out of here. That's what I get for not reading the full message. Spam message. Anyways, that says the characters are so developed and the acting is superb. Oh, all right. I take your word for it. I believe you. I'm just burnt out on it, but I believe you. I will try and give it a shot. Maybe I can watch it. Okay, here's a question. Um, is it very visually um driven? Like, do you have to watch it the whole time? Because if not, I might be able to watch it while I'm painting. I could do that. That's why I can't watch anything. Okay, I was gonna say that's why I can't watch anything with subtitles when I paint, but I'll be honest, I almost never watch anything with subtitles anyways. I hate subtitles. Hmm. Des says, uh, you have to watch it, LOL. It's stunning and there are subtitles. Uh, it's a direct prequel to Rogue One. Yeah, okay, Rogue One I liked. That was probably the only good Star Wars movie in like the last I don't know how long. Okay. We'll see. There are small things to notice too. Okay. Donnelly says, I've only seen the first episode so far, but yeah, it's tough to fit time in to see stuff like that, in my opinion. It is, and there's also the issue of like, the, it's a combination of issues of like fitting in time and also, if Michelle doesn't want to watch it, then I have to fit in time not only to watch something, but to watch something on my own, in addition to time that I spend to watch anything with her. So now it's just more time. And like I said, I watch a ton of stuff while I do other things, but um, some things you really do need to watch. Another, but most things I listen to mostly. Part of that's the ADHD. I have done that thing where I'm like, I was I was watching something on my computer, watching something on my phone, and looking something up on my computer at the same time. And as like, I think I might have a hard time actually retaining some of this information. Maybe I should, not do this all at the same time. Cassandra says, I spend a lot of time looking up where I want to go and rarely remember where I came from, where everyone starts. Okay. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's what you said earlier. Yes, absolutely. You're talking about art class. I totally agree with that. Sorry. It took me a second to. Apologies. That says, I always have multiple things going on at once, my tablet, my laptop, etc. But with Andor, my focus was only on that. Yeah, I I I heard an interesting analogy for ADHD recently that I thought was pretty interesting. Someone said that when they with ADHD that um, they always have to be using like 100% of their brain capacity or their attention capacity or whatever. So I kind of get this. So it's like, if you're just listening to something that's not all that important, then you know, you'll have to listen to multiple things because you need to like, you know, have all that attention somewhere. But if you're doing something really important or difficult, then you don't want any distractions at all. And I kind of feel that way because I do have that in painting too. There are times, like obviously right now I'm talking to you all and I'm painting and I'm doing all this at the same time, and that's fine. But there are certain points in the painting uh, that I do usually on my own time without anybody because I just want to turn off you know, all the other distractions and like literally just focus on and really focus. And the amount of attention that I need for that is like all of my attention. So it's like what's it called? Like I guess like a bar that you have to fill up. And the more demanding a task is, the less space you have for other things. But if if you don't fill up that bar, you're going to find other things to fill it up with so that you're always max capacity. Cassandra says painting uses up almost all of my attention capacity. I can listen to music, but not much more. Yeah, um, you know, it, painting's hard. Absolutely. And there are definitely times when that's the case for me as well. Um, Especially when, like I said, when I'm finishing or when I'm really trying to get something, there might be something difficult or something I'm struggling with, or whenever I'm trying to really push myself and I'm like, I'm trying to do something I've never done before, and I'm like really, really trying to just figure it out and really push beyond what like I can normally do. Um, yeah, it's harder to talk and paint in those situations, but that's why I don't do it as much on, don't do those things as much on stream. Yeah. Cassandra says sitting next to the, um, wait, Cassandra says I can talk and paint, but I wouldn't choose it regularly. And sitting next to the chattiest person in my art school kind of made it so I had to be able to talk. LOL. Yeah, 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 for sure. I can get that. I can see that being a way of developing that habit. Donnelly says, Liad, I came across a couple of YouTube ADHD concentration audio vids that I swear feel like a massage to my brain, especially when I first found it. Interesting. Those I've never come across any that actually made me feel anything, but I'm open to trying it. Uh, You know, if you still have those links, feel free to share them or send them over somewhere. Trying to think who was chatty in my art school. I like, and was I the chatty person in my art school? I know I'm chatty here, but I don't think that I was particularly chatty necessarily. Hi, Dresden. Hi, Dresden. Welcome, little boy. Hi, Dresden. Let me see. Oh, baby boy. Hi. Oh. For anyone who's new here, this is Dresden, one of my three cats. He's named after Harry Dresden, the wizard. We also have a dog named Wizard, ironically, that we got after Dresden. But yeah, there's Dresden. He is not beating the orange cat allegations at all. Sweet handsome baby, Cassandra says. Yeah, he is. Donnelly says Dresden, star of the show. Absolutely, the true star of the show. Oh, I have such a good photo of him. I'll see. I'll see if I can share it on the Discord. I need to see if there's anything in the background, but I don't know what happened, but I caught him. He was just hanging out with his tongue sticking out a little. He'd like just cleaned himself and it was just like just sitting there with his tongue slightly out. So cute. Yeah, exactly, Donnelly. Cassandra says, "Oh man, I love those signaling bowls where the sound moves from ear to ear. It feels like my brain is being stirred." Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think those do it for me for whatever reason. But we're all different, so whatever works. He sees something over there. He wants to go. Say goodbye, Justin. Say goodbye. All right, all right. Mm. Most of the time when I need like um yeah, most of the time I just I listen to like heavy metal, you know. Um I really really like the Doom soundtrack from Doom 2016 and Doom um Eternal, not the current Doom, not the new one, but the previous two. They were great. Donley says, your painting is coming along great. I'm going to lurk. Got to get some food. Hey, no worries. Donley, I know what it's like right after raid, after a stream. Go, go have some, go get your food. I'm going to do some stretches real quick and then get back to painting. Oh. Yeah, the Doom soundtracks is some good stuff. Yeah, not the current one, the previous two. The current one is just whatever. I'm not horrible. It's just whatever. The last two the previous two were so good. Just such good unique soundtracks. If that's the type of music you like, but yeah. All right. What do I need to do on this painting right now? Let's see. Let's take stock for a second and like kind of assess what needs work. I need to add some red to more than just her face. Cassandra says gotta lurk for a little bit. No worries, Cassandra. So I gotta add a little red to some other places so it doesn't look like she just is a pink. Because I feel like that's what she's looking like right now. And then I need to get the chair suggested a little more. And I guess cool off the shadows a little more too. I like talking through like what I need to do sometimes. I find it just find it helpful. Um, just by talking about it, it's the intentionality of it, right? Like in order to put it into words, you have to really know what you want, not just like, oh, I think something over here, you know. That's one of the reasons I think I don't know if anyone's heard this before, but I've heard this from a lot of people that like you learn a lot from teaching. And I think one of the reasons, not the only, but one of the main reasons for that is because you have to verbalize what you're teaching. And by doing that, you have to, you know, build the thought out enough so that you can convey it that way. Um, and so then it's more, solidified and more concrete in concept, and also, um, I think harder to forget. Okay, well, I made a mistake here. I added too much white to this, so let's get more black. The reason I put white in there to begin with was I wanted to cool it off even more, like gray it out, basically. So the reason I'm using black in certain areas is, well, the obvious is to, make it darker. But that is not the only thought behind it. I also um, am using it to desaturate and gray things out and essentially cool things off. But I only am doing that in the background. I'm not willing to do anything on her that will cool off to that degree and desaturate, because I really want to push that, like, that really warmth of the um I forgot the color, the brown color. I can't remember what it's called right now. It was um burnt sienna, I think. Yeah. And I think by doing this, it will make her and everything that is warm feel warmer and have more of a glow to it. At least that's the theory. I'm also going to really try to avoid the what's it called, the urge to really detail everything. Try just to kind of, hint at it and not worry about getting all the details in it. Just want to indicate that this is a chair. Like, this is the edge of the chair, and then that's it. I don't really want to get into all the details. I do really like the look of this, like the, the like semi-transparent paint. That's definitely a look I enjoy, and yet it's not one I paint very much. Let's see if I can get some of that back. In theory, I can't, because once it's dry, it's dry. But let's see. This says I have one of those paints. It's in earth color and it acts like a phthalo, where you get the teeniest spot of it and it takes over. An earth color that acts like a phthalo? What color is that? I'm curious. All right. So in theory, this is already dry. There's nothing I can do with it. And once the paint is dry, you pretty much, you can't get that. It's called light red, but it's not light. It's funny. But let's see. Actually, I'm gonna wipe some of this off. And this will have to be layered though, is what I'm gonna have to do to be able to get some of that back. And it's not red, it's more brown. Interesting. I have one color that I wouldn't say that it really does that, but it's a transparent, I think it's like transparent earth red. Um, it might be transparent earth red oxide. I'm not sure. I think it just kind of depends on the brand and everything. But yeah, this I'm going to have to do in layers. I don't usually like working in layers, but I want to get some of that, you know, that like half finished paint look. This is the only way I can do it now. If at all, we'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this, work on the painting some more, and then come back when it's dry and, you know, mess that part up again. We'll see if it works. It's an experiment. What's the pigment code? I'm curious, when you get a chance. Ooh, that was a accident. That yellow was not on purpose. Yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. This is definitely an experiment, but eh, whatever. What's the worst that's going to happen? I have to repaint those areas again. Oh well. That says, oh, not sure. I'll check it. Okay, cool. Um, what is it? Yeah, trans. Hold on. I think it's transparent earth red oxide or transparent earth red, or each brand, names it something else. But let's see. This one is transparent earth red, and the pigment code is PR101. And well, you can't see it, but I think it's called transparent earth oxide in different brands. But yeah, PR101. And it's it's a really good color for a lot of things. However, I um, I don't know how much I would use it in a painting. Let's see. This is BRB putting the dogs out before bed, and I'll get the tube. Okay. But yeah, I'm not sure how much I would use it in a painting because the thing that about that color is I don't know if it takes over, but it definitely like it just kind of makes you produce brown paintings because it's one of those colors where it's like everything's, not everything in life is brown, but except for things with really bright colors, everything's kind of gray and brown in life to a degree. And so you can use that color everywhere, but then, you know, you end up with like really brown, boring paintings. So I've used it more for like setting up paintings and the underpainting, but not as much for final, paintings. Oh, hey, hi, Winnie. Hi, little girl. Are you gonna come over here? Yeah. Hi, Winter. This is Winnie. Oh, she does not like being picked up like this that much, so she probably won't stay for very long. Yep. She's trying to get away already. Oh, little girl. Shh. It's okay. She doesn't like it when I talk to chat. I've had her in the room when I've recorded stuff before for my videos, and she hates that too because she just wants me to be quiet and pet her and sit in my chair, have her on my lap, be quiet and pet her. Des says PR101 Windsor Newton. That's the same one, right? Yeah, it is. Mine's Gamblin, but it's probably the same one, basically. Yeah, it's a strong color. It makes all your paintings brown. They call it light red. I don't know why they would call it light red. I mean, honestly, it looks kind of like this color to me. Like it does kind of look like burnt sienna to me, you know. Hold on, let me just do a quick stretch. Oh. Actually, now that I think about it, I have a panel that I started to work on, but I didn't. Um, yeah, this is it dried, you know. Um, but yeah, it gets everywhere. It kind of does, yeah. I don't know. I've used it as an underpainting before. Um, when I would do not like a grisaille, not like a full underpainting, but when I would do like a painting, I'd sketch out everything and then I'd block in all the shadows with it. And then I would put it aside and not touch it anymore and paint over it. I've done that before, but yeah, that says it gets everywhere. Yeah, it's a pretty strong color. So it's also one of those colors that like you can do so much with that color, like painting wise. It it can um yeah, you can just do so much with it. It's so versatile. It's funny though. Maybe Winsor Newton's version is a little different because I did not feel like it overpowered as much as you are making it out to be. And I'm not saying that like I'm just saying from my experience, but I haven't used it that much. I bought it for a class that I took originally. That's why I originally bought it. And then I used it a little more here and there, but I didn't use it a ton. And each brand's a little different, so it's hard to know for sure. But yeah, I took a class with Jennifer Balkin, and that was one of the colors on her color list. And she said that, yeah, after you block in everything, she's like, you put this aside because if you don't, your painting's just going to be like every painting is just going to be brown. I really want to buy a um a really good quality when I say really good, I just mean like not student grade because that's what I currently have magenta um and I kind of want to do a magenta monochrome painting because as much as I love quinacridone rose and I do really think it's the better color for you know, my palette, I do think it's more versatile. Um, you know, it's still not the same as quinacridone magenta. And I don't, you know, I hope people don't think that I made it sound like they're the same. They're not. But rose is more versatile in my palette. But if I'm going to do a monochrome with magenta, you know, it's going to feel a little different than my rose monochrome, which wasn't really a monochrome, but you know what I'm saying. My like rose, I did a rose painting and it'll feel different than that. It's really hard to justify right now buying a tube just for that. I'm also tempted. This one's such a, I've talked about this before, but I'm so tempted to buy this stupid opera rose color from Michael Harding. And the reason it's stupid is because it's not a light fast color. So I hate I hate investing money and time into paint and paintings, you know, made with colors that are not light fast. But I don't know, the color is just so like it's just so, you know, strong that I'm still tempted to. I also heard that Gamblin's supposed to come out with a color not like Opera Rose, but it's like a pink or a purple or violet. I can't remember, but like really, really vibrant one. I haven't checked to see if they've come out with it yet. I need to I need to see. It's a new color they were working on that was not announced, but someone showed it to me. And I was like, oh, that looks awesome. I want to paint with that. But it wasn't out yet. So I don't know if it is out yet. A lot of times the colors, like the new colors that they come out with, they're just like either repackaged versions of old colors or you know, just like pre-mixed colors, which I generally don't go for. So I'm very curious what this one is. Yeah, like I think it was Michael Harding came out with like a whole new series of colors, but they were all just like pre-mixes of things that already existed. And Winsor Newton came out with their they came out with a line of non-cadmium replacements, and they don't list the pigment codes, but it's basically like colors that already exist. They just tweaked the recipes a bit. Um, but like their, you know, cadmium yellow is basically like Hansa yellow or Ace yellow or Aerolide yellow. I can't remember one of those. But, you know, that's why they don't list the pigment code because they know people will be like, yeah, that's the same. We're familiar with this. Des says, okay, it's midnight here and I need to get to bed. I'll see you guys soon. Hey, no worries. Des, have a good night. It is I'm getting close to being done with stream. It is late. I meant to start earlier, which I've said many, many times before, for stream, but yeah, we're getting back to it slowly. So, good night. Donnelly says, good night, Des. Des says, I can't let my sleep schedule mess up. Hey, I feel that. That's smart. I'm not going to do that, but that's smart. Donnelly says, are you planning to get Night Rain, the new Elden Ring DLC? Well, it's not an Elden Ring DLC technically. Um, and yes, I am planning on it. I don't remember when it comes out, and I'm not sure I'm going to get it at the moment. But I will get it eventually. I'm kind of torn because I know people are going to, it's a multiplayer game, and I know people are going to want to play it now when it comes out. Is it out yet? I don't even know if it's out yet. I lost track of most things. But I know people are going to play it, and it's a multiplayer game, so it's like you gotta play it when everyone's playing it. But I don't know that I actually have anybody to play it with, so that's kind of sad. So I don't know. I need to check when it comes out. I don't remember. You think it's out? You're watching another streamer play it at the moment? Oh, well, like I said, I kind of lost track of everything, so could be out already. Yeah. The big issue I have with it is that you're supposed to play it with like a team of people, two other people. And yeah, I don't know that I have anybody to play it with. So that kind of sucks. Donnelly says the person I'm watching is single playing at the moment. You can single play it. So it's designed for three people, but you can play it on your own. It's just that significantly raises the difficulty level and you lose out on like certain mechanics that you otherwise, would have. But yes, you can do it on your own if you want. It just, like I said, my understanding is it significantly increases the difficulty level and you lose out on certain mechanics. Like there's a revive mechanic, essentially, you know, when you're playing it with other people. Obviously, you don't have that if you play on your own. So yeah. And don't get me wrong, I am an Elden Ring player, so I probably would have played it on my own for the, extra difficulty level anyways at some point because, I still have a goal of beating Elden Ring on Elden Ring New Game Plus 7. I think I stopped temporarily. I was on New Game Plus 5. So, you know, I am one of those people. Alrighty. Actually, I think I'm going to be calling it a night. I am feeling the fatigue. I need a bit of a break. Um, yeah, I'm gonna. I'm gonna call it a night and go buy Night Rain and go play. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I need a bit of a break. Sit down, and so on. Um, I'll be back on Sunday and I'll try and get my streaming schedule, more organized. We'll put it that way. Um, Donley says, kidding, not kidding. Yeah, no, I, yeah, I'm not going to buy it now anyways, unless like a bunch of my friends are like, hey, buy it and we'll play together. And be like, okay, fine. But otherwise, I don't think I have the time for it at the moment. I got a lot to do. Yeah, I got my website. I got the print set up on my website recently, and now I'm trying to get my commissions page up. So, by the way, I'm open for commissions. I should mention. I should post about that. But yeah, trying to get that all set up. So, anyways, yeah, have a good night. I will be back on Sunday, and like I said, I'll try and get my streaming schedule worked out as well. So that's all I got. Have a good night, everybody.